Okay, well, thank you all for joining us to this information session on our newest graduate program in data science and analytics. Um, Maybe we can, those of us who work at Chico can maybe just start by quickly introducing ourselves. My name is Micah. I'm a graduate coordinator here in the Office of Graduate Studies, and we partner with, in this case, the Department of Math and Statistics to manage the program, and we handle kind of the Cal State Apply and the application side. Yeah, work with Kathy to get all of you wonderful folks into our program, hopefully. And then I'll kick it over to maybe Michael, Carrie, and Rose. You can introduce ourselves. And
just very quickly, I'm also an admissions coordinator along with Micah.
Hi, I'm Carrie. I am also an admissions coordinator, and I handle student applicants with the last name I through L.
I'm M through Z.
And I'm Rose White, and I am the student success coordinator, and I also work with folks on curriculum. But one of the most enjoyable parts of my job is getting to talk to students who are interested in grad programs. And so I like to know as much as I can about each program so I can enthusiastically promote it to those students because it's exciting.
right, and that's the Graduate Studies Office, and it being a new program, I think we also here to learn somewhat from Kathy, and I'll turn it over to you to kind of give us a rundown of what this cool new program is.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you for this opportunity. Gonna go ahead and share the screen. Oops. Is everyone seeing the slideshow? Okay. Something was going on over here, but I guess it's working out fine. Okay, so my name's Kathy Gray, and just going to give a brief overview of the program. Thank you for coming. Just a little bit about me. I'm a professor here at Chico State. I've been here since 2007, so that's definitely before the term data science was even coined. My PhD is in math, but I study statistics, and I got my PhD from University of Montana before I came down here. I am the brand new MSDSA graduate coordinator, so I only kind of know what I'm doing. We haven't started the program yet. It will start in the fall. So I'm still learning things as I go. And when I'm not working, I like to do outdoors things. And since we're on Zoom and you can see my face, I decided to put my pets on the rather than a picture of me. So those are my 4 pets. Okay, so as a statistician, I tried to predict what questions there would be and create slides for them. And one question that I think probably people would maybe be nervous about asking is, what exactly is data science? And it kind of depends on who you ask, and it's been defined differently, I think, but I think it's come to kind of a consensus that data science is the intersection of computer science, stats, and a domain expertise field. So this Venn diagram kind of shows the intersection here. And I think at least as undergraduates and even as professionals, sometimes we live kind of on the outskirts of the Venn diagram. I tend to live more in the stats area. And some students might live here, and then other students might live here. The idea with the program is that we want to kind of come together in the center here. What do you do as a data scientist? That again depends on who you ask. It's a career where there's a wide range of work, but some of the things that you might do, you might use technology to glean insights from large amounts of data. You might handle data, make sense of it, convey your findings, and seek data-driven solutions. And you might work for a company and use data to understand their business and customers better and to better make the decisions for the company. Why should you study data science? Well, companies are starting to realize that there's a huge demand for data-driven solutions, and this has created a big shortage of data scientists. So in the US, we currently have about a shortage of 140 to 190,000 people, and that's even bigger at the managerial level. So what we do, or what we're planning on doing with our program, is we're planning on training you in the field of data science to help meet the national demand. Obviously, if you're going to continue your education, it's going to cost money. So you really need to consider whether getting a master's in data science is worth it. If you look at this graph over here, the 5%, I believe, is the national average of all occupations. And so all these fields down here, data science, statistician, actuary, those are all fields that you could go into with a data science degree. And you can see they're all well above the national average of 5% growth rate. And the data scientist field right here, that's the largest with a 35% projected growth rate over about the next 10 years. So it's looking really, really good for finding a good job as a data scientist when you're done. And of course, the investment in your education, you might want to know if it's going to pay off. And so if you look at the normal curve, hopefully you know what a normal curve is, but if not, it's just a distribution. The median salary for data scientists is a little over 100,000. Looks like about 25% of data scientists make more than 136. So it's a pretty lucrative career, and there's a lot of predicted growth in there. Next question, you might be wondering if the data science and analytics program is a right fit for you. So if you are have a background in stats or computer science or analytics or STEM fields, you'd probably be a good fit for the program. And I'll get into a little bit if you're not in a STEM field, because that doesn't mean that you're not a good fit. It's just maybe not as obvious where you would fit in. As a data scientist, you would most likely work on an interdisciplinary team. So if you like working with people, especially people in other fields, the data science career might be a good career choice for you. And because it's such a new field and it's growing so much, there's basically new technologies that are coming out every day. So if it's something, if you like to continue your education even after you graduate, learning things new, learning things that are new, I think a data science career is really right up your alley, because I think it will be a continuation of learning up until when you retire. And then if you get into a discipline like climate change or medical research, you could really have a big impact on the world and making it a better place. All right, so just a little bit about the program. I put the Venn diagram back here because I think it helps with this, this particular slide. But it's a 34-unit program. It could be done in either 2 or 3 years. We'll go over that in a little bit. And it's open to students with a bachelor's degree and an interest in, basically an interest in data. So we have 2 tracks to choose from. And this is why I put the Venn diagram back up here. So the first track is the applied analytics track. And that's for students that perhaps, live in this domain field down here, or this field right here, or either of the other 2 fields, but are really interested in learning things outside of your given discipline. And so this is focused on working with a domain. So either agriculture, biology, really any other discipline. You can work with industry or with faculty in that discipline. And so that's the applied. And it's really suited for people that are maybe starting down here in the domain field. But like I said, you could do either be anywhere on the Venn diagram. And then the machine learning field or track is more focused on learning the tools of machine learning and artificial intelligence. And that's well suited for students that are coming with a CS degree or a math degree or a stat degree. So they kind of live over here or over here and want to end up here. Well, we all want to end up there, right, in the data science intersection. The prereqs for the program, there are two classes that we like for students to have, well, are required. That's an intro stat class. Here at Chico State, that would be Math 105 or Math 108, but really any intro stat class, it could be from any university. And then we like students to have Calculus 1 under their belt before they start the program. Additional preferences, Calculus 2 is a prereq for one of our classes, so it's important that, well, required that you have Calculus 2 before you take that class. And it's nice if you've had upper level applied stat classes and some experience with R and Python. At Chico State, we have a 1-unit class for R and a 1-unit class for Python. And those are Math 130 and 131. One of those classes I think might be offered this summer. So that would be a good opportunity to get that experience. Also, Calculus 1 would be offered this summer here at this university. So that's an option for students that are interested but haven't had the calculus background. And Calculus 2 you could take when the program starts. So the link I provided in the chat, that's how you can get to the course requirements. But these are the courses that you would have to take. The first block of courses are the core courses. So that would be no matter what track you take, that you would have to take those courses. Everyone has to take those courses. And then the applied track, you would take 2 electives in your chosen domain. So if you come from agriculture, you would take 2 graduate level agriculture classes to meet that requirement. And then, of course, the machine learning, you would have some graduate level CS courses. About the tracks, you don't have to decide on a track until you've finished your first year. So there's no rush. If you're not sure if you want the applied or machine learning, there's no rush to commit to it. You do state it on your application, but you're not committed to it until you finish your first year. Again, the link I provided in the chat, you can get to this as well. We have a 2-year plan and a 3-year plan. I don't have the 3-year plan up. It was a little too big to put up here, but of course you could see it. It's just more spread out than the 2-year plan. The first year, everyone takes the same courses. And then the second year, you break off between the 2 tracks, although there's a little bit of overlap. So 650 is a class that's you have to take for both tracks in the second year. Let's see. And then we end the program with a project. I'm not going to go too much into the project. You don't have to do a thesis, so it's not at the rigor of a thesis. And the project, there's unlimited possibilities, so it would be really hard for me to go into it too much, but you would work pretty closely with a faculty member. You may work for an industry partner as well. One option is to work on, a real life data science problem for an industry. Another option is to work, create some dashboards or something like that. It's really the possibilities are endless, so it's hard to project what everyone's really going to do, but you would definitely want to work with a faculty member. It's just an opportunity for you to show off what you've learned. So it's something that you would want to put on your resume, something that you think will help you get hired when you're done. And then after graduation, unfortunately, we don't have any statistics because we haven't started the program about the percent of students that get a job in data science. But I did look into other universities just to see if they've posted, what percent of students get jobs in the field when they graduate. And it seemed to be about 80 to 85% seemed to be pretty common. So Hopefully we'll be at least at 80%, but maybe even higher, helping people get jobs when they graduate. But yeah, it's important to find the right company. If you come in with the attitude, like, I want to work for Google and that's all I care about, you might want to adjust your expectations, because some jobs are very competitive. But like I said, the field is growing a lot, and so there's new jobs and new opportunities every day. And just because you have a degree in data science doesn't mean you'll be called a data scientist. There's a lot of terms to describe us. You could be hired as a statistician or a data engineer or a quality specialist. So you're not really pigeonholed to be a data scientist necessarily. Actually, I cut this list short. There's probably 10 other ones that I could have listed here. And then the companies that hire data scientists, obviously, the tech companies, but you should keep your options open, because some of the tech companies are pretty competitive. And there's certainly jobs at other companies or government jobs. Schools and universities tend to hire data scientists, at least one data scientist. With a master's degree, you would be qualified to teach at a community college, so that's another outlet for employment. And then there's some consulting jobs or government jobs, healthcare jobs. So I'm sure this list I cut short too. I could only put so much on a screen, but just about every company is kind of facing the decision whether they need to hire a data scientist or not. All right, and so hopefully that gives you a little bit of background. The link I put in the chat tells you a lot about the program as well. You can always email me with questions. The deadline for non-international students is April 1st. And part of the application process, you'll write a statement of purpose. You'll need a letter of recommendation. I would suggest a letter from academia, like a professor that you've worked with, and make sure they know, what to address in the letter. You should get your resume together. On the resume, that's a good spot to point out or tell us about the projects you've done. And of course, your transcripts. The statement of purpose. The statement of purpose is something that I read probably first. Gives me a really good idea of who the applicant is. So the statement of purpose, you definitely want to address why you want to study data science. You should address which area or which track, but like I said, you're not committed. So if you think you want to do the machine learning track, but then you get here and you decide the applied is better suited for you, that's fine. You're not committed to any track until after the first year. Your career goals, any special preparation. So if you have a certificate, online training, anything like that that's not obvious in your transcript, statement of purpose, that's a good place to put that. You could describe your projects in your statement of purpose. So if you've done some data projects, that's a good place to at least mention that. And then if you have any issues with your GPA, if your GPA is kind of below 3.0, you might address why. If you had a rough freshman year, and that brought your GPA down, that the statement of purpose is where you should address that. It's better off addressing it than hoping that we don't notice, because we probably will notice. So addressing anything like that, personally, my undergraduate career wasn't where I shined, and so I'm very understanding to second chances, and it's not a deal breaker for me, at least, if your GPA is a little bit low. Okay, some people might be concerned that they might not be a good fit for the program if they don't have a math or a computer science or a stat degree. Here's that Venn diagram again. And so almost any STEM majors, it would be a good fit if they're interested in doing data science, because the requirements are pretty low, just an intro stat class and a Calc 1 class. most STEM majors probably have that already. If you haven't had R or Python, you can learn a lot of that online. You can take a short online class, or you can take our 1-unit class. Like I said, we might be offering one of those in the summer. Calc 1, that could be the sticking point for people that are non-STEM, because it's kind of an advanced math class. So I would suggest trying to take Calc 1 before the program starts, because you don't want to get in the program, take Calc 1 and realize this a little bit above your pay grade to do that sort of math. And so that's what would worry me. So I would suggest, yeah, trying to get Calc 1 under the belt. We are offering it as a summer class. Hopefully it will fill. So if that's something that interests you, you might consider taking the summer class. If you don't have any experience with doing projects, you might just do a little simple project by going to Kaggle, which is a site that offers free data sets. Pick a data set, do a little bit of analysis, just show your creativity and get some experience. The person that I would say isn't a good fit for the program is someone that would be like, well, you know, data science is really cool, but I hate coding and I hate math and I hated my stat class. That's probably not a good fit because that's what you'll be doing. But everyone else that's open to it and has had at least a little bit of calculus, I think would be a good fit. And that's it. We're accepting applications now. So I'll turn this over to Micah.
Oh, thanks for that rundown, Kathy. I want to maybe right now leave a little space for any questions that any of you prospective applicants might have about maybe the program itself. Before I'll show you Cal State Apply and maybe some of the details of the application in a minute, but before we launch into that, any questions? Yeah, feel free to raise your hand or put them in the chat. Nate, go ahead.
My name's Nate, and I'm planning on applying for the program in the fall. And I have a computer science background, and I'm really interested in data science, and I'm excited to hear about everything. And it seems great that this program is getting its start this year. Just now I was looking through the course descriptions, and it seems like generally like the classes that are more on the statistics side are going to be in R, and then the classes more on the computer science side are in like Python for the machine learning stuff. Does that sound accurate?
Yeah, I mean, we have stat faculty that teach Python here. And I'm in the math department, I should have mentioned that. I think that's fairly accurate, but I think there could be, I think like in Math 45, that's the class that you could be using Python. That's the advanced data science, I think that's called. I think a lot depends on who's teaching it. Like if I teach a class right now until I get better at Python, it would be using R. If other faculty teach a class, then that could be in Python. But I think your assessment is probably pretty fair with a few exceptions. But good, I'm looking forward to your application.
That makes sense. Thanks.
Anybody else have other questions? While you're still thinking, I've got a couple that I'm anticipating folks might ask. One is that this program isn't a fully online program, meaning if you were accepted, you'd have to be here in Chico. But Kathy, do you know what percentage of the classes are online versus in person? If you even know that.
I think they're almost all in person. I don't think there's very many that are going to be online.
Okay.
Yeah.
So mostly in person.
Mhm.
And then I know there's a few of our staff folks who are interested in this. And you mentioned like a 2 and 3 year timeline. Would it be possible to do the program in an even more extended, like part-time basis for those folks who maybe already like full-time jobs that want to kind of do this on the side? Is that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't see any issue with that at all. I think the only time constraint would be the university has like a 7-year
Mhm.
time constraint, so that, and I've been on a lot of committees where that 7-year time constraint's been met and surpassed, but yeah, I mean, I think it's very similar to other programs. It's, you know, like typically 2 or 3 years, but of course, that doesn't always work out with life.
Right, perfect. So that's the kind of thing you could maintain a full-time position and just kind of use this program to up your skills.
I think
Perfect.
so. I mean, you know, the classes will be probably during the day, so that might be something to consider, but yeah, I think so for sure.
Right, Nate, go ahead.
I think just now Kathy kind of answered this question already, but I wanted to ask like, because I know some programs are designed for people with like daytime jobs with like classes more in the evening and stuff. And I was wondering like if in general the classes in the program happen like during the day.
Yeah, you know, it's being such a new program, I think we can always change it if that doesn't work, but I think, you know, the plan is to have classes during like the typical 9 to 5 timeframe. Um, of course, if we do end up with the majority of students having day jobs, then we might have to rethink that. But I think initially that's the pattern.
Sounds great, thanks.
All right, I see Kevin with a hand up. Go ahead.
Hey, so I was wondering, do you guys take transfer credits? Like, would it ever work to like get through the program faster, or do you have a set? Like, what is the set for the curriculum if I'm coming
Yeah, I
in
mean, I
with, you know?
think yeah, I don't know how to address that yet because I haven't, you know, we haven't had to deal with that. But I think, yeah, we certainly could if classes like certainly, you know, Calc 2 or something like for sure. But
Well, so I actually took data science as an undergrad at Portland.
oh,
So-
okay.
So I was, you know, looking more at getting, you know, straight into the machine learning and kind of.
Yeah, I think,
Straight
you
into
know,
that.
I don't know. So, as someone like you that would want to take that the very first year, I just don't know because I'm not in the CS if those classes would be offered or if we're waiting for the second year to even offer like those machine learning classes.
Is there someone I could talk to more about like specific curriculum kind of questions, like show my transcript and kind of see how that would
Yeah,
look?
yeah. I
You
mean, I
know,
think
like what I would have to take based on my.
Yeah,
yeah. Go ahead.
I was gonna say I could, just from a general policy standpoint, if as long as you can transfer in courses to use in the graduate program. We cap it at 9 semester units. They would have to be graduate level courses at the institution you took them. So that's like our general requirement. And if you wanted to get like an evaluation, if you've got coursework, you could send that to one of us so you could send it to me or one of us at the graduate studies. We could look at your unofficial transcript, work with Kathy and say, yeah, if you were admitted, it looks like we could, you know, transfer in these. So we could get that for you. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, well, it doesn't look like any other questions, but if something comes to mind, obviously, feel free to raise your hand or put something in the chat. Go
Mike,
ahead.
I will just interject one quick
Yeah.
little thing because I need to go off to another thing, but I just wanted to say that y'all saw that I put in the chat that there is a statement of purpose workshop that's online on Friday morning. And you are welcome to attend that if you want to get started on your statement of purpose, or if you just want some suggestions on the direction to go with that. So you are all welcome to attend that. You don't have to sign up ahead. You can just use that link that I put in there. You'd be welcome to come. Thanks for letting me have the time, and thanks for all the great information.
Thanks, Rose.
Yes, thank you, Rose. All right. Oops, there we go. Well, as Kathy mentioned before, the applications are open now in Cal State Apply. So I put, some of you are, maybe have already started them. I put the link in the chat, and I'll just give you a quick little overview of what the application looks like, and maybe just point out a few things relevant to this program. So this is the main, once you create your account, this is kind of the main dashboard that you'll see. There's 4 main quadrants that you have to fill out. These first 3, personal information, academic history, and supporting information, once you fill those out, any application, any CSU program you apply to, that information you put there is going to go to each school. So personal information, that's straightforward. Just asking you to fill out info about yourself. The main question I get here is we're asking about like ethnicity and gender identity and things like that. You don't have to worry that none of that, although we're collecting it, none of that gets shared with the program. So that's filtered out. They're just going to see your name and your program materials. Academic history, we just need you to list every school you've attended since high school. This section in supporting information, the only thing in here is called experiences. And this is basically a place you can add any employment, internship, or volunteer work that you've done. Because we're collecting a resume as part of the application, if you're only applying to our program, the data science program at Chico, you could safely leave this blank, assuming that everything you would put on here is already on your resume. So if you're just applying to Chico, I would just say click opting not to add any experiences. However, if you're going to be applying to more than one CSU, I don't know what other CSUs might be doing. So you should probably play it safe and fill out the supporting information if you're planning on that, because yeah, what you put here goes to every school you apply to. So those are pretty straightforward. The part that's going to take the most, and I would suggest maybe coming in here first, is the program materials. And here, this is my fake application. I've got a lot of different schools that I've started an application for. And so you'll have to fill this section out individually for each school, because the schools potentially have different requirements. So for us, here's our data science and analytics application. And you see the tabs here are each an individual section asking for different materials. So this home screen, basically just a rundown of the program. You can get a link to the webpage and the email address if you need to reach out to the program. So that's just informational. Then in this question section, here's where we're asking for some information that Kathy mentioned earlier about the program track. Again, so we've got one application for both of them, not 2 applications. And obviously you're not tied down to this, but we'd like to know, your initial plan. And then we're just asking you here to list the required prereqs, where you took the course, that sort of thing. So we don't have to hunt on your transcript. It makes it easier for us to review your application. And so you can see, get the stats, Calc 1 listed, and then the optional prereqs, same kind of thing. And we have little program experience self-assessment where we're just kind of getting a sense of where you're at in terms of your experience. And finally, we've got a spot where you can put a link if you do have programming portfolio that you'd like to share. It's not required, but I'm guessing this, you can correct me if I'm wrong, Kathy, but this would help you if you're applying and you've got something like this, it might make you stand out compared to other applicants. So that's, we've got some custom questions in the document section. We really have just 3 required documents. Kathy already mentioned these, so I won't linger too much, but upload a statement of purpose, your resume, and unofficial transcripts. You don't have to send anything official to us until you're admitted and are planning on coming, then we'll need to follow up and get the official versions. But for purposes of admission, unofficials are great. If you're a Chico undergrad, you still need to upload your unofficial, but obviously if you're admitted, don't have to worry about the official. So we already have that. And then a few optional documents here. Here's another place where you can upload. If you don't have a link to a data project you've worked on, you can upload it as a document here, not required. And then, yes, any other unofficial transcripts of schools that you've attended that maybe like community colleges or things like that. And then the final section, recommendations. I would actually come in here first if I were starting the application because, well, there's only one required. And the way that this works is I've already put someone in here, but all that you need to do is once you identify the person you want to be a recommender, it's just a matter of typing their name in here and their email address. And then once you do that and hit save, it'll send, like right then, it'll send your recommender a link to complete this form. And the
Did
reason
Bob Marley give you a good recommendation?
oh yeah, exactly. He was kind of busy with the biopic, but he hasn't gotten back to me yet. So, but I would do this first because it immediately sends this is the one part that's not in your control, and you need to follow up to make sure it actually gets submitted. So you can see here, once I saved it, the status is requested. And then once the person actually completes and submits the letter, this will say completed. But this could come if you do this first, the link will go out. Your recommender could potentially get it done and submitted before you've even completed the application. Then you can know it's there. But that just gives them the maximum amount of time to complete it. You can submit the application if the letter hasn't come in, if this is still requested, as long as you have all the other documents uploaded and ready to go. The only requirement here is that you have this information in, and it could come in after you submit your application, or even after the April 1st deadline. That wouldn't be ideal, but if the deadline passes and it's April 2nd or 3rd, it still can come in. The deadline doesn't cut that off. So yeah, that's, I think, pretty much the main things I wanted to share about the application. If you are applying to multiple schools, as you complete the applications, you can submit them individually. So it's not like you have to complete everything before you can submit them. You can kind of do it a la carte style here. And this check status menu is handy because again, if you have multiple applications, it's a place you can come in and quickly. I only have one recommendation filled out here, but if I did complete this for multiple applications, I would see the status of all my recommendations up here. So it's kind of a handy place to come in, and you'll definitely want to keep an eye on this as I mentioned before, because you don't want to have everything ready to go and just have your recommender kind of space on it. And, so that's probably the biggest, I don't wanna say problem we see, but issue that applicants deal with is just making sure that online letter gets in. Yeah, so I just wanted to, yeah, give you just a little overview there. I don't know if there's any questions about kind of the details of the application or the process itself. Cool. Well, if something comes up, I think I should have my email because that's how you found your way here. So you can always feel free to follow up and ask any questions. I thought of a question myself. This is for Kathy. Do we have a target we're shooting for in terms of the cohort for the first class for this program?
Like the size.
Yeah, in terms of, because I can see we've got we have 60 some applications submitted and we have 200 some in progress. So I'm just kind of
Yeah,
wondering.
not that many.
Yeah.
I mean, I think 15 is like, that would be optimal number. 15 to 20 would be optimal, I think, for the first round. That way, the faculty aren't overwhelmed with projects. I think, class-wise is fine. It's just if there's too many, then the faculty, it'd be hard to find faculty for the student project. So that's just my kind of feel for it. I've had some experience with working with a former graduate program that's no longer with us, but I think that was always kind of their goal, was between 15 and 20. So we'll see. I'm a statistician, so I should be able to like get that nailed down, but I don't know. There's a lot of unknowns.
So in terms of the process, since we're going to have more applications, obviously, than we can admit. So it'll be, we're collecting applications up until April 1st. We'll have a period where we're kind of communicating with you applicants to make sure we have everything correctly, and then start reviewing the applications after that. I don't know if, do we have a rough estimate of when we're going to try to notify folks, or is that just to see what we're dealing with in terms of the numbers, I suppose?
Yeah, I mean, I like to stay on top of it as far as reviewing the applicants. So I would say pretty close to beginning of April. Because once April 1st arrives, then I'll know exactly how many we have. And so, I don't like to let things sit on my desk. So yeah, I'd say like within a week or two of April 1st, so mid-April.
Okay. Perfect. Well, I don't think I have anything else to add myself. I don't know guess we got one last chance for any questions or comments, or anything folks want to say before we pop out of here. Cool.
All right, well, feel free to contact me if you have any questions. Yeah, I could put my email in here in the chat.
And I'll put mine. I might pass you off to Michael or Carrie, depending on your last name, but you can email me as well. So roughly, if it's kind of a question about the program and the curriculum, Kathy would be the person to go to. If it's about the application itself, or you're having difficulty with Cal State Apply, that's definitely something we would do. And obviously we can coordinate, because some questions we both know a piece of the answer. So.
Yeah.
Perfect. Well, thanks Kathy for doing this and
Yeah, no problem.
For
I
all
hope
of
everyone
you,
applies.
that attended, and yes, I look forward to seeing the applications come through.